Hello everyone, this is going to be another video on the ergative series. Um, this time it's a video over morphosyntactic alignment. So morphosyntactic alignment, and pay attention because this is going to help you understand ergativity in Cebuano. In this video I don't have anything written in Cebuano, I have only what's written in English because I feel that you need to get a good grasp and understanding of this English concept, or I guess some grammar concepts in English before I move on. And this will probably help you. So for my English speakers out there, pay attention. And I know I have like Spanish viewers, Spanish speaker viewers out there too. I'm not sure if I'm gonna make a video on ergativity for this in Spanish, but whatever. Sorry guys. And it's like 1 in the morning and I'm tired as hell. So, but let's just get this thing started, alright? So I have two sentences here. One of them is transitive and one of them is intransitive. Remember, we're talking about ergativity, so transitivity plays a big role, and it's going to be transitivity with the verb. First sentence is, I like him. Second sentence is, he runs. But take a look at closely the pronouns, right? We have I written in the subjective case and him written in the objective case. So I like him. Who is the direct object? Him is the direct object, right? Because you're liking the object. I am liking an object. I like him, all right? On the second sentence, which is intransitive because there doesn't seem to be any objects, it's just an intransitive sentence. He runs. You can't do anything with an object there, right? It's just the verb run doesn't take an object, right? Now keep in mind too that Cebuano, even though in Cebuano, there may be a verb that may seem intransitive, but there's going to be a way that that intransitive verb can become transitive. So some verbs are like that, like, for example, the verb to listen, dungog, right? Dungog can act as both transitive and intransitive. Because you can listen, but you can also listen to something, right? So you can listen, but you can also listen to an object or to something, or just the verb to listen can become transitive. Another one is the verb to win, daog. You can win, right? But you can also win something. Right? So these verbs can be both transitive and intransitive. So watch out. English has them too. But in Cebuano, it's those kind of verbs appear a lot. And that's what makes the nature of Cebuano as an ergative language like pretty prominent, right? So keep in mind, like this makes sense and this makes sense. Grammatically, they're both correct in English. They are sound grammatically. But let's move on to this next part, right? This next part I have my like they, us like I, right? They don't make sense, but you understand what is trying to be said. You understand the message. It's just not grammatically sound because they are written in a different case, right? So my like they. Well, what case is my in? My is in the accusative case of English, right? Accusative case. And I say accusative because English is a nominative accusative language. It's not an ergative absolutive language like Cebuano. It's a nominative accusative. So my like they. But you know what the message is trying to convey. It's supposed to be I like them, right? They is in the subjective case or the nominative case, but it needs to get changed into the objective case, them. So my like them, I like them. And same thing with this last sentence, us like I, right? Again, I is in the nominative case, it needs to get changed into the objective case because like is a transitive verb that takes objects, right? And us needs to get changed into the nominative case because we are talking about, and the main focus is about the third person plural, we, right? We like me, right? So just keep that in mind, because these cases, they will get into big play, or they're going to play a big role in Cebuano when you move on to learning Cebuano. But just see how I'm just trying to show you the differences and the similarities with the cases, and trying to get you to recognize what are the cases and why these cases matter a lot, and um, why they are ungrammatically sound when you misuse them, right? On this third one, I have the example of I like him, he runs. This is what's called the nominative accusative, or I should say nominative absolutive alignment. So, what's being marked here, right? We're talking about I, right? We are the main focus. This I is the main topic or subject of the sentence. I like him. And I is written in the nominative case, while him is written in the objective case. But if we take this sentence, because this sentence is a transitive sentence, right? If we take this sentence and we make a sentence out of this using the same subject pronouns, or the same pronouns, the same pronouns, but in a intransitive, we use it in an intransitive sentence, we get something like this. He runs. This sentence is intransitive. He runs. But the subject of the sentence is still in the nominative case, right? The same one with here. It's also in the nominative case. It's not in the objective case. But that's because English, again, it's a nominative accusative case, or a nominative absolutive kind of alignment, wherein the subject of an intransitive verb, right? This one, the subject of an intransitive verb acts like the subject of a transitive verb. So the subject just remains a subject in both intransitive and transitive verbs. And that's how we have something that looks like this. I wrote it in circles, while this one is in a triangle, right? Because the alignment goes like this, while this one right here is marked. All right? So this is the subject that acts and gets treated the same, and this one is not treated the same. This works well in English. Now in Cebuano, it works the opposite, and this is what I'm going to show you on this last part. Okay? So here we have the sentence, me like he runs. Now in English, it doesn't make sense. The first one doesn't make sense because it's written in the objective case, and we have a nominative case, right? But let's look at this in terms of Cebuano's alignment of an ergative alignment, or ergative absolutive alignment. The he and the he here remain absolutive, right? This is like the subjective case, the absolutive case, while this me here is an ergative. So let's just put this as an ergative and absolutive, right? In English, it doesn't make sense. We can't say me like he. That doesn't sound right. But guess what? In Cebuano, we can do that. It does sound right. It does make sense. Why? Because as long as this he here, which is the object of the transitive verb, gets treated the same way as the subject of an intransitive verb, right? So the subject of an intransitive verb gets treated the same as an object of a transitive verb, right? Me like he runs. So our alignment looks like this, okay? This is our ergative absolutive alignment, where the ergative is marked as a different kind of pronoun case, and the absolutive is marked as in a pronoun in the absolutive case. We don't necessarily mark these, we don't put like a marker on it, or in Cebuano, we don't put any markings on it to indicate that it's an absolutive or an ergative case. But what we do was what I showed you in the previous video for this series. We use the pronoun case. We use the actual word of that case, that pronoun case, and that's why it is crucial for you to know when to use an absolutive or an ergative or an oblique or objective pronoun, because that's going to tell you that, oh, you're talking about such and such, or me or you or them in that case, whereas I'm left in such and such a case when you're talking about me or you. So keep note of that. The subject of an intransitive verb acts as the object of a transitive verb. So here's our intransitive and here's our transitive. They both are the same. They can act the same. They can be the same. You can use them in the same way as long as this pronoun remains the subject of an intransitive and this pronoun remains the the object of a transitive verb. Again, in English, that can't work. We can't have that happen. The subject of a transitive verb, like this one, has to be the same as the subject of an intransitive. But this one, the subject of a transitive verb, which is me like he, can be the object of the subject of an intransitive verb can be the object of a transitive verb. They can be the same. And the last example here that I showed is, this one might make a little more sense, but it's the same concept as well. I like him. He runs. Or him runs, sorry. I like him. Him runs. Again, the subject of the intransitive verb is the same as the object of the transitive verb. They're the same thing, right? Him and him. It doesn't make sense in English, but in Cebuano it'll make sense because we have our own pronoun for this, him runs. We have our own pronoun for this, him, on the I like him part, this him, and that is our little absolutive ergative kind of pronoun that we have to use. So if you remember the chart of pronouns, there's going to be the absolutive and ergative case that you're going to use. And that's pretty much it that I wanted to touch up on this morphosyntactic alignment video. On the next video, you'll build on what you learned and you'll start to see all of this come together. All right, but this one I just wanted to recap and show you how the alignment works and why we have to use our own pronouns for depending on what case it is, absolutive, ergative, or objective, right? All right, good night, guys.